Paris, the city of lights, where romance thrived in every corner and whispers of timeless love filled the air. But for Emilia Laurent, Paris was no longer the charming city of her dreams. Instead, it had transformed into a cold reminder of her own tangled web of deceit, a tale of choices and betrayals that threatened to unravel everything. Seated at one of Paris's most renowned restaurants, La Maison Étoilée, Emilia fidgeted at the impeccably set table, her heart racing as she tried to maintain composure. Across from her sat Henri, a man whose magnetic presence had lured her away from the very marriage she had once cherished. The atmosphere was lively, with waiters gliding across the polished floors and the soft hum of French jazz creating an intimate backdrop. Yet, for Emilia, no beauty in the world could mask her rising anxiety. At 36, Emilia was the epitome of grace and elegance. A true Parisian at heart, she was born and raised in the quaint town of Beaune, before moving to the bustling heart of Paris with her husband, Christophe Laurent. Christophe, 3 years her senior, was a celebrated architect, revered for his designs that perfectly blended Paris's old-world charm with modern elegance. Their relationship began like a whirlwind in a small cafe overlooking the Seine, where a discussion about Gothic architecture led to a romance that quickly blossomed into a seemingly perfect marriage. To the outside world, they were Paris's golden couple, hosts of lavish parties, mingling with artists, writers, and intellectuals in their expansive penthouse, overlooking the river. Yet, as Christophe's career soared, Emilia found herself adrift. The passion and excitement they once shared seemed to dissipate under the weight of Christophe's work and the relentless expectations of Parisian high society. Enter Henri Marchand, a businessman whose rugged charm and spontaneity stood in stark contrast to Christophe's deliberate and thoughtful demeanor. Henri exuded a wild energy, with piercing blue eyes that had a habit of lingering just a moment too long and a confidence that made him irresistible. They first met at an art gallery opening, a place teeming with society's elite, and from the instant Henri's gaze met hers, Emilia felt something she hadn't felt in years. Their flirtation began as innocent exchanges over champagne, playful glances across crowded rooms, but soon it escalated. Henri's unpredictable nature rekindled a spark in her that she thought had long since died. Despite her guilt, Emilia found herself swept up in a whirlwind of passion, spending nights with Henri in secret, living a double life that only deepened her desire and her remorse. Tonight, as they shared a glass of wine at La Maison Étoilée, Emilia couldn't shake a sense of foreboding. Henri, ever the charmer, regaled her with tales from his latest ventures, flashing his signature grin. Yet, as she forced herself to smile, Emilia's mind wandered. She was about to respond when her phone, resting beside her wine glass, buzzed. The name on the screen made her blood run cold. Christophe. With trembling hands, she unlocked her phone. The message was short but brutal. "Enjoy the wine, Emilia. I hope it tastes sweeter than betrayal." Her heart plummeted. How could he have known? Panic surged through her veins, and she felt Henri's eyes on her. "Everything all right?" he asked, his tone suddenly concerned. She mustered a smile, weak and unconvincing, nodding with a quick, "It's nothing," but her mind was a whirl. Before she could process, her phone buzzed again. She hesitated, the fear evident on her face. The message was cruel and cutting. "You always loved French cuisine. I wonder if you'll enjoy it as much now, knowing what's to come. Look around. Do you feel safe?" Her gaze darted nervously around the restaurant. Was Christophe here? Was he watching them? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. Seeing her distress, Henri leaned forward, his voice now tense. "What's going on?" Barely able to form words, she stammered, "I need to go," and rose unsteadily from the table. Henri's confusion was palpable, but she couldn't stay to explain. Just as she turned to leave, another message illuminated her phone. "By the time you return, I'll be gone, and so will the life you've lived. Consider this your last meal as Mrs. Laurent." Tears welled up as Christophe's words sank in. He knew everything. Her world was crashing down around her, And for the first time, she was faced with the reality of her choices. Christophe, the man who had given her everything, was leaving her, and she had no one to blame but herself. Henri called after her, but Emilia could barely hear him. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she hurried out into the Paris night. The city, once her haven, felt cold and unwelcoming. She wandered the cobblestone streets, memories flashing through her mind. Their wedding, long nights by the fire, quiet mornings in bed. How had she let it slip away? She found herself by the Seine, staring into the dark waters. The river had always been her sanctuary, a source of calm, but now it felt mocking, its surface reflecting the lights of a city that had borne witness to her greatest triumphs and now her deepest regrets. She had always believed she could juggle both lives, that she could love Christophe and still find solace in Henri's arms. But now, she saw how naive that belief had been. She had taken Christophe's love for granted, assumed he would never notice, never leave. Her phone buzzed one last time, breaking the silence. With a heavy heart, she read, Christophe's final message, goodbye, Emilia. I hope you find what you're looking for, though you won't find it with him. One day, maybe you'll realize what you lost. The message was a final, silent blow, and as she stood there alone in the night, she knew that Christophe was gone for good. The love she had once held so dearly had slipped through her fingers, leaving her with nothing but the echoes of her own decisions.